Usually
Raqia,
tools are made for a purpose. So what purpose would you have to tell the drop over a mile of water?
Oh, you live on a sphere? Water's curving. As of right now, you can't measure that.
Did you not hear what I said?
Yeah, I did. And I gave you the purpose to know where we live. If you know that water is curving in a downward fashion from every point from any benchmark in all directions, you would confirm that you live on a sphere even more so. The fact that you
But
can't
you're
do so
looking
right
for
now, and the fact that most of the time when you take measurements, accurate measurements, which means shorter measurements, you don't get concave or convex. You get that it's horizontal.
Oh, can you show me these measurements showing the Earth's horizontal and flat?
Can do one better. I can tell you the method and tool to use, and you can do it yourself. Don't ever trust me or any other man,
Then why would I trust you to give me the method?
because you can confirm the method. You don't have to trust me. You're just trying to fight against it, but that shows your bias. Don't
actually,
fight, man. Just
What?
go,
No.
go do it.
I was actually
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about this.
Go ahead with the method that will prove that there is no drop whatsoever over 1 mile. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Well,
they call it leapfrog, but it's called extending the straight line segment. You can use theodolites or lasers or the combination of the two. Those are the two easiest to use. You can rent them at any like AAA rental or any rental store. You can rent them. You can research the method from all the experienced surveyors that have 20, 30, 40 years, read all the books on it, how to extend a straight line segment, go do it over a stretch of 1 mile water that's as static as you can get it. Like, doesn't have to be perfectly static, but static enough where it's not going to cause 8 inches of deviation, and then go do it. Good luck. It's weird that
So you're
people
saying
haven't done it more.
theodolites are a reliable way to measure drop
Theodolites are the
or
most
not?
accurate way that man has right now to extend a straight line segment, meaning making a horizontal plane over distance. Yes, correct.
Okay, so aren't you kind of answering your own thing? You were saying that there wasn't a tool that could be used to measure that.
Well, Globers are saying there's not. I'm saying there is. I'm saying it's very easy. I'm saying actually you and anyone else, the common man, right, that has any inclination to go do it, can go rent this tool and go do it themselves. That's how easy it is.
Yeah, like Jesse Patholite, common
He
man.
hasn't done that. He has never done that.
He's actually measured concave Earth.
Yeah, I can show you pictures of that if you want. Concave Earth, but you don't believe him on that point.
He's measured essentially reciprocal zenith. When he did that measurement, he's essentially measuring reciprocal zenith angles, having more than or less than 180. Less than.
180.
Well,
Correct.
Ruhif
By how
done it with
much?
2 theodolites and showed reciprocal zenith angles from the top of 2 mountains.
Yeah, I know. That's why that's not a measurement, because it's all over the fucking place.
You get the mountains close enough and you get planar.
It wasn't all over the place. Both sides showed the exact same height above the one they were looking at. He had
No, I know,
two looking
but
at each other, and he leveled them both to where they were both level at the point they were stationed. And when they looked at each other, they both were exactly looking over top of each other at the same exact height,
I know,
showing that their verticals are different from each other.
I know. Yeah. He got a measurement for that one, and then Jesse does it, gets a different measurement. Somebody else does it, gets a different measurement. It's just not a measurement. It's not consistent at all.
Can you show me? Can you post that with the human and tool error calculated in? Refraction, tool error, and human error that was calculated in, please? I appreciate it. Oh, and good luck.
well,
You can't let
Raqia,
these people fool you, man. You're
They,
smart enough to know these things. You've heard it over the years. You can study it yourself. You know they got to calculate in refraction no matter how small it is if you're on top of a mountain, but distance matters. And then human and tool error would be factored in, correct? In any measurement? Can you show those, please?
Sure, Ruhif and Jesse can.
Are you sure about that? I don't know why nobody.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why nobody doesn't mention. I can't remember his name that did it over the lake to the telephone pole in his backyard and had lights on his theodolite stand and got close to drop of the Earth over that distance. And that was with like a huge human error calculated in, and still wasn't accurate.
Yeah, Raqia, I was wondering about starting a company with Jesse Patholite just for fun. We were talking about, well, I mentioned that we should start a company, go to the top universities in the world, Oxford, Yale, all of them, and we find a patch of land, get the students involved, and we basically set up a mini LIGO, or maybe they can do 3 observations. They can clear a 1 mile straight path for water, and then we can easily show the students, look, the water is diverging from this tangent line that we've created, just like they claim to do at LIGO. And if every university had this, the students could easily walk down and make these observations and say, look, it's clear, or it's a sphere. Even though we don't have
elevation is LIGO Livingston again? I forget. Is it on top of a mountain? The one in Livingston, the one I lived 10 miles from. What elevation is that measurement done that they say is horizontal? I don't know why you think you got to go to the top of a mountain when they did it at sea level, basically in LIGO in Livingston.
That's true. They found one of the flatter states. It's in one of the flat states because they needed it to be flat. I think it was the third flattest state.
Louisiana's the third flattest state, yet water runs away from it. They have drainage. So not flat. I mean, they had to excavate the land to make it flat, which means they had to measure it, right, horizontally. So if they can do it at sea level in Livingston, what's so special? It's actually humid, thick air, right? Why do you have to go to the top of a mountain all of a sudden? It's weird, right? Y'all back yourselves in the corners. Y'all don't even realize it. And when people bring it up, you don't comment on it.
I agree.
Most horizontal physical thing on Earth is in Livingston, Louisiana, about 4 exits from where I live. And it's at sea level, basically, 60 feet. No mountain.
Yeah, they claim that for water.
They didn't take 2 theodolites and point them at each other, which is not in any, I haven't seen in any surveying book that I've read anyway. And can we get the distance from mountaintop to mountaintop that those things were perfectly, in your own words, the same distance above each other or whatever you said? Which is a ridiculous statement if you're talking about any distance over 300 feet.
You don't want to look it up?
I mean, I don't have to look it up, man. I do this every day. And to someone to make that such a ridiculous statement that it's perfectly measured to be the same distance above each theodolite, I don't even know what that means, actually.
Why is that a ridiculous statement?
Well, what's the distance again?
Why is that a ridiculous statement?
Well, I'm asking what the distance, because I'm just assuming mountaintop to mountaintop would be more than 300 feet. So if it is more than 300 feet, to get a perfect measurement, the same distance above each theodolite, which I still don't even know what that means. Like, I know what you're trying to say, but it's not a survey method, is a ridiculous statement.
It's simple. I mean, if you take a basketball and you put 2 rulers on it, and they're perpendicular to they're vertical at each position, they're not going to be level with each other. One's going to go, they're both going to point over top of each other. That's exactly all theodolite's doing. It's looking, since the Earth is curved, the verticals are not parallel with each other. They're, off from each other.
You think your basketball,
both of them will look over top of each other. And when you're on top of a mountain, refraction is a lot less reduced. And if refraction was causing the issue, you would expect to see more refraction out of one than you would the other. You wouldn't expect them both to look so even.
So you're saying the basketball, for one, is analogous when it's not, because you're not looking through the atmosphere. You're taking a physical measurement on a basketball, right? You can physically put these verticals on there. You can't do that. You're looking through an optic over a long distance, and we still haven't got the distance again. You want to just verbally say it, and I'll trust you?
Dude,
like approximate.
you're grasping at straws to try to act like you
Not
don't
really.
understand the analogy of the
I
basketball.
do understand it. You're just trying to negate what I'm trying to say, and I still don't have the distance yet. I'm letting the audience make their own decision. I'm perfectly fine with doing my analysis, but using an optical tool over a great distance, over 300 feet, and I would assume you're mountaintop to mountaintop, you might not know the distance, but even you would have to admit it's probably more than 300 feet. You're going to get some human and tool errors over that distance, and I just don't know if he's calculated them. I haven't seen anything. And I don't think you've posted them or know them. You're just assuming that Jesse Pathelite and all these other guys, Jesse Kozlowski and all these are doing everything perfectly. And I'm not even saying if I take my theodolite up to the same mountaintop on the same condition day that I wouldn't get the same effect. I think you would. That's why you do not take long distance optical readings from a theodolite over distance for accuracy.
Talked to both of them. I've listened to Jesse and I've listened to Ruhiff's thing when they've went over what their experiment was, what they did, how they did it. They done the whole spew on, how it was set up, how it was leveled, all of it. And just because I don't have the information to post you don't mean anything. You'll have to get that off of them. I'm just saying that from what I've seen and heard from them, it sure appears that the earth is curved.
Right. It does in those observations. I agree. You can make all the charts you want. You can show all the drop from mountaintops you want. But when you don't show drop, when you show level measurements, right, horizontal, or when you show concave, you just dismiss those like they're nothing because they don't happen as often or whatever. Or you say they don't happen as often. I don't know how they don't happen very often. When I've gotten them, Jesse Pathelite has gotten them, Jesse Kozlowski, which are two Globers, have gotten them, and the guy who passed away, I forget his name, got him. Manichuk, yeah, he got them. I mean, that's three Globers that told me I was a liar for 2 years because I told them I had observation where the object was above the horizontal, which would mean concave Earth over 24 miles. They called me a liar until they started doing themselves. And actually, Hanichuk didn't admit that he got it until I called him out on it like several times because he slipped up and posted it. And after 2 years of calling me a liar, they said, this is normal. It just doesn't happen as often. That's why I don't trust people. But you can trust them if you want. You sure are basing your whole worldview on basically trusting other men, it seems, in this case. Like long distance observations have been proven to be wrong. You can prove them to be wrong on short distances. So why would you increase the distance and say they're perfectly
that's not why I believe in
accurate?
a globe, because of them
I didn't
two.
say it was.
I believe in a globe because that's just two more experiments in a long line of experiments and different things that all aligns perfectly. That
Perfectly.
Make up
There's that word again. Perfectly. You care to retract your perfectly statement on these long distance observations? Or you want to keep saying it?
Grasping at straws again, bud.
No, I'm not. I'm pointing out that there is no perfect observation or measurement over long distance. It just doesn't happen. You have to calculate human, tool, and refraction, and it's still not going to be perfect. Yet you say it is, just because they said it was.
I didn't say that the experiments would be perfect. I said they all align perfectly.
You said the two measurements were exactly the same, perfectly matching from both sides, is what you said. You can review the tape if you want.
I mean, you can go back and look at it if you want to.
Yeah, I don't need to. I have a perfect memory.
I made the statement that they all align perfectly. I wasn't talking about when I made that statement 15 minutes ago. I need to try to keep up.
When I do keep up, when you said the measurement from both sides of each mountain, from where each theodolite was set up somehow, I've never seen it. That's why I asked you to post it. You said the measurements were perfect. Equally the same above each theodolite, which I didn't even know what that meant. That's why I did keep up and remember what you said. That's how I know it's a ridiculous statement. I went through the other guy saying that I know it's ridiculous because that's not possible. Something not possible to be perfect like that. even close to be perfect without refraction and tool air and human air. It's funny because even another glober doing it over his lake in his backyard for about 1,500 feet calculated a huge human air plus tool air and refraction and still didn't match the globe drop over that distance.
Yeah, like
Admittedly,
when they do reciprocal zenith angles, it never matches. They have to add refraction or something. Like it never perfectly matches.
Look at my live feed
I've
and
never
you'll
seen
see
it
why
perfectly
I'm not
match.
posting things right now.
What's up?
I told him he can look at my live feed and he'll see why I'm not posting things right now.
I said okay. I said just approximately come up with what you remembered, and it was mountaintop to mountaintop, so we know it's a good distance, right? Why don't you admit to that?
Can't remember the distance. I don't really remember any of
You're not even doing anything.
Yeah, what are you doing, man? You should be getting off of it.
Making little rocks out of bigger rocks.
Mm-hmm. Soon those will be floating above your head.
Ruhiff just basically pointed two theodolites at each other, is all I know. And he talked about how they showed difference in vertical. I'd have to go back and ask him or go back and try to find his video on it to give you any details about it.
Yeah, and I said, no problem.
I'm telling you right now, when they do reciprocal zenith angles, they actually do reciprocal zenith angles to see what the refraction is because it never matches. So when you do the reciprocal zenith angles, you're like, oh, I'm off by this much. That must be how much refraction is happening. It's like affirming the consequent.
And those cool little switches that y'all call earth curve switches on the total stations are actually linked in with refraction, like it's the same switch. There's not a switch for refraction and a switch for earth curve. It's the same switch. It's amazing. I surely can't be the only one that sees this, right? How would refraction and earth curve be the same switch when refraction, even on a globe earth, actually makes things rise up mostly, right? Isn't that what y'all say? Makes them appear higher than what they actually are? How would that be earth curve? Or am I wrong about that? Maybe not keeping up.
Just sort of sitting here trying to figure out how you believe that the entire world, as technological as it is, and of all the engineering feats that we humans have achieved, especially in the last 30 years, how you think that humans aren't smart enough to know the shape of the earth.
No, I think humans are very smart. I think that's why there's so many flat earthers. I think that's why there's so many flat earthers, because even with all the technology that's being taught in the school books and all the programs in the school and all the TV programming, everything that's being taught as a child by the authority figures, even a lot of adults and teenagers are going against what they've been taught because they see reality now. So I can see it both ways. You don't think I could teach people flat earth? Give me the TV and the school books and the colleges for about 10 years and everybody would be a flat earther except for a niche group that holds on to, like water curving. Don't teach me that water doesn't curve. It seeks and finds its level, and it's the best way to figure out what a horizontal is or confirm your horizontal, and then tell me it curves over distance.
It's not about teachers teaching kids that the earth is a globe. It's about companies paying billions of dollars to have these super incredible smart engineering firms build different things that actually use the curvature of the earth in them. They have to know the shape of the earth in a lot of things to make a lot of things work correctly. If they were wrong, the things wouldn't work correctly. So it's either some type of incredible fucking lie that half of the planet's smart people are involved in, or you guys have just been fooled into a flat earth pit.
Yeah, either we've been fooled or you've been fooled, yeah. And you say they're the only smart, they're the smart ones, right?
What makes the most logical sense?
I can tell you what makes the most logical sense. That water doesn't curve, it's contained, and so is air pressure. I don't care what all these smart guys that work for these billion-dollar companies have told you or me or anyone else or that are doing. I don't have any clue what they're doing. What I do know is when you physically measure what they're telling you is curving with the tools that they've generated to be accurate, it's not curving. And which part of that don't you get? And by calling them smart, you're saying everyone else is dumb. I don't think that's correct.
Like I've talked to a lot of surveyors in my lifetime, and especially over the last couple of years when I talked to them about flat Earth, and they like right off the bat, they don't understand how anybody can think it's flat when you have the tools that you can use to measure the Earth with.
Yeah, I got you. So call up any one of them, or I challenge you in the next 2 weeks when you get out of that tractor busting rocks. Go talk to any surveyor that's measured curved water and bring that process in here. I guarantee they haven't. I guarantee I've talked to 10 times the amount of surveyors and ones that I pay and ones that I've just walked up to on the street and live stream in here and talked to them. None of them have measured curved water. When approached and telling them I want to make a pier a mile long in my local lake, how would we do that and make it horizontal, which means would be above the water, right? Let's say if we start a foot at a benchmark and make it a mile long, how far would it be above the water when we get a mile away? They had no clue. They didn't even know what the curvature rate of Earth would be. How do you think they're measuring it? I think you're just, I mean, I was once biased too in that way. So I thought all surveyors had always measured curved water. It's just when I went out and started talking to them, actually talking to one, and trying to get them to hire them to make this thing and saying, okay, we start 1 foot over the water here and go a mile long. How much over the water would it be over there? And they all said 1 foot. And I said, no, a horizontal.
Because nothing that you build is perfectly straight. So
you're just reaching for straws now.
The natural deviations as you build your structure over the water will be far greater than anything that you're going to experience with earth curve. So
in
you
which direction,
follow
sir?
the water if you just use a simple level.
In which direction would that error be in, sir?
Which direction would the error be?
Yeah, the one you say is so minuscule, it is less than the curvature of the Earth. Which direction would that be above the horizontal or below it?
Explain it to me. I don't know what answer you want.
Yeah, I'm not looking. I'm looking if you know what you're talking about, and you clearly don't. Sorry, a call came in. Error margins are plus or minus above the horizontal if you're making a horizontal line. So it wouldn't just follow the curvature of the water.
Sure would.
No, it wouldn't. It would be above the horizontal
every point of the earth, if you take a level, a spirit level, every point that you stand on will show level. So if you put a post sticking out of the water, 1 foot above the water here, you go 10 foot away, check your level, you level another post sticking a foot out of the water, and you keep doing that. Each one of those posts, if you go to each one of those posts, they will show level. When you start connecting boards from post to post to post, the natural deviations and stuff in the boards where they're not cut perfect, they don't match up perfect, you don't nail them perfect, will naturally fit together from post to post to post and appear like they're going together straight, but they will still follow the curve of the water because the curve is so shallow.
So tell me again how these same surveyors that you've talked to that would do that couldn't tell if the water was curving or not. How did they measure water curving again?
The water's curving.
Do what? Say it again.
They factor earth curve into their calculations over long distance.
Why would they have to calculate anything if the measurements are so minuscule that it's less than the curvature of the earth? And all the error margins, apparently in your case with your surveyors, would all be in the downward direction from the horizontal. Strange.
I'm talking about surveyors. I'm talking about using a spirit level and doing it yourself.
Oh my God! Over a mile, you're being ridiculous. I was talking about surveyors. I very specifically brought up surveyors. You changed it like you did earlier to a basketball to using a spirit level over a mile. You're being ridiculous and you're trying to obfuscate. Why don't you talk about the surveyors, how they would do it?
Straws again.
It's a nice try, but it doesn't work anymore. Surveyors is what we were talking about. And now you're saying you're not talking about surveyors.
No, I was talking about why building something a foot high over water would not be sticking up an extra foot and a half on the other side of the lake, because nothing you
Well,
build
maybe
is
you should
perfect.
try and keep up, because I was talking about hiring a surveyor to do that.
If you
Yeah, I was
survey
talking about very specifically. I gave very specific parameters, hiring a surveyor to start 1 foot above the water and build a pier a mile long. How much further above the water would it be after a mile? And then now you're switching it to auto levels. Spirit levels, and not talking about surveyors for some reason. Why is that? Maybe you're not keeping up.
just telling you why that when you got to the other end of the lake, if you use the level, you would still be a foot off the water if you wanted it to be.
Okay,
Obviously,
so
if a
what tool would
surveyor
we use?
a surveyor
What tool
could
would we use to
definitely
make a horizontal over a mile long that you said that your surveyors you talked to measured
why
curved
don't you
water?
let
They
me
must have measured. They must have
you
used
to ask
something.
questions?
You know, to measure curve, you have to establish a horizontal above that surface, right? To measure the curve down.
Yeah, to have a conversation, you need to shut up and let me have this finish my
Oh,
sentence.
there it is. You just can't handle the truth, it seems.
No, you're just grasping at straws.
Yeah, there you go
You want
again.
it to be flat so bad that you're willing to say anything you got to
That's just a
say.
lie.
To make
That's
it
just
flat.
projection.
It's not a
Projection.
lie.
It is projection. You want it to be a sphere so bad, you're willing to say that instead of using a highly precise tool like a theodolite, like a surveyor would use, you're going to switch it to a level and explain to me, like I don't know that if you took it over a curved surface that was less than the error of using a level over a mile, that you wouldn't measure the curved earth, assuming that all the errors that you made over that mile distance would be in the downward fashion, which is ridiculous because error margins would be plus or minus. Anything else you want to say?
But you would measure 1 foot above the water all the way across as you went, because you
I'm
put
not
your
measuring
toes in
1 foot
first.
above the water.
Put
That's
your
not what I
toes
was
in
doing.
first. If you measure them all, if you put them all 1 foot above the water, they're all going to be 1 foot above the water. Now, if you want to
I
bring in a
agree.
surveyor, have them shoot a line across the lake. They can tell you precisely how much drop there is on that water. I don't have
So,
to tell
so
you.
what tool is
I don't
okay?
have to convince you. I got the entire world that could
Who
agree with
cares?
me.
Who cares? You don't have the entire world because I'm in the world and I'm not the entire world. I don't believe what you believe. And what tool were they using again? Because I can go out and do it. I'm on a lake right now. I'm at Lake Tahoe right now, looking out my window. You think this lake is curving?
They got all kinds of different shit they can do.
Oh, really? Name one. Name the best one.
I don't know. They can use a total. What is it called? A
You
total
just
space.
said they did
They
it
can
and
use
they could
the
do
other
it. Now you're
line.
saying you don't know.
They can use GPS. They can
They could use
use
what?
shit.
Are these available to the common man?
Yes, available to the common man.
You know, could you and I go out and buy one of these tools and measure this curved water you said is so easy to measure?
Yes.
Okay, and what tool was it again? What's the number one tool we could use, you and I?
I don't know what the number one tool is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Good answer.
Oh well, because I don't know what the number one tool is, man. That means I don't know nothing.
What's the top three?
How do you not see the things you say? How do you
Is there
not
more
hear
than
what you
one
say?
tool that could do this?
Honestly,
I'll be fair
do
to
you
you. Is there more than
listen to
one?
the words that come out of your mouth?
Since you don't know the number one, I'll be fair to you. Is there three?
No.
Name one of the top three that you and I could go buy and measure curved water.
I don't know. I would say the most expensive would probably be like a total station, whatever they call it, where you have a main one and then you set up like 3 satellite poles around an area and it gives you the area tells you something like that. I'm not sure exactly how they work, but I know that you can do that. The other one of them would be like a GPS receiver, and one of them probably be a theodolite.
And you and I could go do this. And we what calculations would those be in there? We have human and tool error and refraction in there. Which way would the refraction be done? Like,
how to use one. I've never used one.
well, if you're shooting 1 mile over water, would that water in the distance be lifted up or down in your refraction correction?
It would be lifted up if it has refraction. Normal refraction.
So the water is lifted up, but you're still getting drop?
If it has refraction and if it's a lot of refraction.
A lot.
Could do it on a day where there's very little refraction.
Very little refraction on that day. Which day would that be?
Again, do you listen to your answer? What you're asking? How the fuck would I know what day that would be?
Yeah, exactly. Even on the day that you say there's a refraction, how would you measure it again? You would take reciprocal zenith angles to get your refraction rate? Uh-oh.
It's affirming the
I would
consequence.
probably stop.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
affirming
there
the
you go.
consequence. Every
Uh-oh.
time they do that.
It's ridiculous.
Look silly.
Yeah, I'm making myself look silly. I'm very to the point, and it's a uh-oh moment for you if you're going to use the same tool to measure the refraction to say, oh, there's not much refraction today because we measured it with the tool we're going to measure it with.
Never said that.
You have to. You don't even realize it, and you're calling me, making myself look silly.
I never once said the tool you're using to measure the distance is what you would use to measure the refraction.
Because you don't know it is. Then what do you measure refraction with?
Hell, I'm not sure right off the
Good
bat.
Lord, man. Anyway, y'all have a good day. I wish y'all were here. I'm looking over Lake Tahoe that's curving, I don't know, a lot.
Thanks, Steve.
You got it. Just measuring refraction isn't even enough, though, because ultimately you need to know which way the light's bending in order for this to be an actual measurement. You'd have to measure which way the light's bending, and refraction alone just wouldn't tell you that. Like if you measure the temperature, pressure, and humidity, that alone doesn't tell you. I mean, it's a good guess. You know, maybe it's a good guess, maybe it's not. You still just don't know which way the light's bending because you haven't actually measured which way the light's bending. And even in the globe paradigm, you know, the heliocentric model, there's other things that make light bend other than refraction. So if there is something other than refraction making the light bend, and you think you're just measuring which way the light's bending when you measure refraction, you could be screwed.
You could use two different things. You could use a GPS receiver along with the theodolite, which would give you your precise location. Then it would allow you to see how much you're off or if what you're looking at is not correct. Different things.
No, GPS is subject to refraction also, so you still don't like adding GPS in doesn't help because you're still in that refraction. What's up? Say it again, Cole.
How is GPS subject to refraction? I've never heard that.
It's electromagnetic waves going through a medium. They openly admit that Google is GPS subject to refraction. It'll tell you yes straight off to right away. It's not even like what's up?
I didn't know that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll just add the other day, about 3 weeks ago, on one of my sites, the surveyor was using a GPS unit, and he's explicitly stated that refraction was calculated in.
Yeah, if you didn't calculate refraction in the GPS, you'd be fucking way off. You'd be off if you didn't do refraction.
GPS works all the time though. Like it sends a signal and then the signal gets sent back and it reads how long it took that signal to get sent and come back. I thought.
Yes. Yes, that's how it works. Cole, that's how it works. Yes.
How would refraction affect it?
I'm going to explain it to you. I'll explain it to you. If the light goes in a straight line from point A to point B, it's going to take X amount of time. Let's say 10 seconds, right? Now, if the light, that's with it going in a straight line. Now, if the light takes a curved path, it's going to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a longer trace.
It would throw the time off just by a tiny little bit, fractions of a nanosecond or whatever, but that equates to a different, a different thing.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
No, they openly admit it. This isn't like something I made up or anything. Like you just Google it. It'll tell you straight up. GPS is subject to refraction.
Yeah, I just posted it. When you get off or take a break, you can look at the post, Cole. I mean, it's nothing made up here.
Like you're just playing out there. You're not even. What are you even doing? Are you breaking rocks? Like what are you doing?